Hey folks, welcome along to another video tutorial here in Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. What we're going to be doing in this lesson is learning how to create ourselves a multi-level maze game. So we are stepping things up a notch. What we're going to be doing is basically running through a maze, collecting as many coins as possible within the 30-second time limit. And then we need to get on to the next level where the same thing happens again, where we just got to collect as many coins as possible in 30 seconds before hitting the finish line. You will see in the second level that we add in a bad guy that just moves around, basically patrolling an area that you can't run into. But apart from that, that's about all our game will involve. So let's have a look at an example of it, and then we'll get stuck into making the first part of it. So you can see we start our game here. At the top, we've got a timer. We've got some coins to collect. Okay, it can be a little bit fiddly getting through some of these gaps. Just a bit of a limitation in MakeCode here. I probably could have got more coins to boost my score a bit, but I just want to show you how we can get down here to the exit and work our way through to the next level. Now here's that little bad guy I was telling you about. If you do hit him, it will be game over, so I'm not planning to run into him. This is a fairly simple level too. I probably should have made it a little bit harder, but once you hit the end there, you win, and it just gives you your score. Okay, if that timer runs out, or as I said before, when you hit that bad guy, then it will be just game over. But that's it. Just showing you a few new tricks there on how to create a maze game, and also how to create two different levels in your game, which you can obviously expand on in future tutorials. Alright, so let's get started on creating this game today by heading over to the arcade.makecode.com website and clicking on the orange button in the top left that says new project. We'll just call it maze game, and we will click on create. Okay. Now usually I set up a background to begin with, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to come back to the background a little bit later on because we're going to use a tile map for our background, so we'll just leave that be for the moment. What I am going to do is I'm going to set up some basic things first of all, like the score. I'm going to set that to 0. I'll zoom in a bit here too so you can see it a bit clearer. And we're going to set a 30-second countdown timer as well. So here's our countdown timer. Let's just start it from 30 seconds. Okay, just get some basic things ticked off early on. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our main character. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is bring in a sprite, and I will rename it to boy. Got a little boy character for today, and the sprite we're going to use is straight from the gallery. It's going to be this first one here. Almost looks like a little fireman, I guess you could say, if we zoom back a bit there. We'll just click on done. Okay, that's how our sprite's going to start today. We will set our boy to his start position as well. So where's this start position? Here it is. Okay, so we're going to set boy to position X. We're going to put 25 and 5, which is up in the top left hand corner there. Okay, and you'll see in just a moment when it updates, that's our start position at the top of the maze. Okay, we want to be able to move our boy with buttons. So let's bring this block of code in from the controller drawer. Make sure you're moving the boy, not the my sprite. And that will allow you to use your arrow keys there, a little trackpad on your gaming device to move the player around. We want the camera to follow our boy as he works through the maze today. It's not going to do anything right now, but later on we will have a camera following the boy around the maze. So make sure you put camera follows sprite boy. And the next thing I might do is get a little bit fancy with our player today. So as I move him around now, you can see that he's always facing the same way. Probably just stop that for a minute and play it again. I think because I put this camera in, stopped him moving. Let me just try that again. There we go, that works better. So maybe just leave that camera follows the sprite boy out for the minute. Once we get our tile map in, we'll be able to put that back in. But yeah, as I was saying, I want to get a little bit fancy with the boy in this one by making him animated and making him face the correct direction. So if we're moving to the left, he's going to be facing the left. If we move to the right, he's going to be facing to the right, and so on. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to the controller option here. And we are going to go for this one that says on A button pressed. And we're going to change it from the A button to the left. Okay, and we're going to bring in from the animation drawer the first one here that says animate. We're going to animate the boy. And if you go to the frames here and go to the gallery, you should be able to find a little video of the boy at the top here facing to the left. Now that one has a shield. I don't want that one. I want the one without the shield. There it is there. Okay, so it's called Hero Walk Left. And we'll just click on Done. We're going to loop it so that the animation continues to play while he's facing to the left. And we'll probably speed him up as well in just a moment, because I think 500, actually if we just click on the frames here and have a look, we'll play that. You can see there that's quite a slow walk, so we might speed that up to like 100 instead of 500. So make sure that interval is 100 instead of 500. Okay, that's how we animate our boy moving when we press the left button or the left arrow key, or even the letter A on our keyboard. Next thing I'm going to do is just duplicate this. So I'm going to right click and duplicate that block of code. And I'm going to do it for the right arrow now. So when we press the right button, still going to animate the boy, but we're going to change the frames that are animated. We're going to go to the gallery there and choose the boy walking to the right. Click on Done. And make sure it's a 100 millisecond interval still and the loop is turned on. Okay, coming across a bit further there, we're going to duplicate that again, and this time we're going to focus on the up arrow. So when the up arrow is pressed, in our gallery here, I might go with this one. Looks like he's walking away from the camera. He's got a shield in that one. I'll probably try this one. Yeah, this one here, without the shield. Everything else is good. 100 milliseconds, the loop on, and we're just going to duplicate that one last time for when he's going down the page. We'll animate from our gallery here, and we'll just have it facing the camera, like so. Alrighty, so we've now got our little player animated. I guess it's time to test it out and see how he looks. If we use our arrow keys, you can see that he's facing the right way as we move left, right, up and down. I might make this a bit bigger. So right, left, up and down. Okay, that looks pretty good. The only issue I've got is when I'm not pressing an arrow key and he's just standing still, he's still bobbing up and down and doing a bit of a animated movement. Okay, there is a way to turn that off so it doesn't look as weird. Okay, so that's what we might do next. So I might zoom back a bit here. We're getting a bit crowded with all the code. I'm just going to get rid of that camera follow sprite boy for now. We'll come back to that shortly. But what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in a purple block of code from the game drawer here, and it's just going to be on game update. So as the game's updating, we're going to give it something to do, and we're just going to check to see if the character is actually moving. If it's not moving, then we're just going to stop the animation on the boy. Okay, so we need to do that using an if-then statement. So grab one of the light blue if-then statements and drop it inside the game update. And we're going to see if the boy's velocity x is equal to 0 and the velocity y is equal to 0. Remember, the velocity is the movement speed, basically. So if they're both equal to 0, he must be standing still. Okay, so we're going to need to go into logic and get this and one out and drop it in. And we're then going to need to go back to logic and get the equal sign and drop one in there. Oh, actually, it's not going to let us do it, is it? Here we go. It's working. We need two of those equal signs, and we're going to drop it all the way inside there. It's going to be a long one, this one. Okay, now once we've got that in, we're going to go up to the sprite section here, and we're looking for the Vx equals, yeah, is it set? No, it's not set. This one here. So we're going to look at the boy, and we're going to look at the velocity x and see if it's equal to 0. Just duplicate that by right-clicking on it and duplicating it. Not the boy one, the blue one, sorry. And bring it over here. We're going to check the boy's velocity y. So is he moving up the x-axis or is he moving up the y-axis? If it's greater than 0 or anything equal to something other than 0, then he must be moving. If it is equal to 0, he's standing still. So that's when we want to stop all the animations on the boy. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's give it a test run and see if when he stands still, he's not animated, but when he is moving, he's definitely animated. Okay, so that's how we get our little player moving around the page. which is good. Next thing we might have a look at is setting up this tile map, so our background for our game. This is probably the most important part of this tutorial. So we're going to go into our scene section here, and we need to set up a tile map. So go down to the tile maps, and we're going to set up a tile map here. That just goes in the on start section of code. Okay, now if you click on this tile map option here, this is where we can create our own maze. Now, at the moment it's 16 by 16. If we look in the bottom left there, let's go to 20 by 20. You can make it as big as you want to, but 20 by 20 is fairly big enough for this tutorial today. Okay, once you've got it in at 20 by 20, I want you to start drawing your own maze using some of the tiles over here. I found some good ones in the dungeon section. Okay, there's lots of different walls you can use. You can choose which kind of walls you want to use. I don't mind if I go along a bit further here, these pinky purpley coloured ones to start with. Alright, so before I put them in, I might actually colour in the background using my fill bucket tool here. So I'm just going to go to my tiles and hit the plus sign here and add in a black tile. Let's click done. And then I can use the fill bucket here to just click on my page, and that puts in a black background across my page. Then I'm going to go back to the gallery here, and as I said before, I'm going to select these pinky purpley ones. Whoops, I'm still on the fill bucket. I better undo that. I need to grab the pencil tool or the line tool here. In my case, I'm doing the corners, so I'm going to start with the pencil. And I'm going to basically put in borders around the entire width of the screen here. So get that all done up first of all. That way your player can't exit the screen and basically fall off the screen. Go outside of it where we can't see them, so we want to keep them in the game screen, and that wall there is going to help us out. Okay, what you do in the middle here is up to you. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward the video here in just a moment while I go through and add in my walls, and then I'll see you back here in just a moment once I've got my walls all done. Alright folks, there we have it. That is roughly my tile map, I guess you could say. You can make your design look however you want, okay, but that's going to be my maze to begin with. Now some things we need to put in here, which I didn't put in before, were the finish line and the start point. Okay, so to do that I'm just going to use these little staircases here. I might grab some stairs and make him start up the top there. And I'll grab these orangey coloured stairs. I think they're stairs, whatever it is. And I'll just stick it somewhere down the bottom here. Okay, so start point at the top, and then the finish point down at the bottom. Hopefully our little guy starts in the right spot up there. I'll have to double check that in just a moment. So I think that's looking pretty good, so we should be able to go back over to our screen here and we'll have a look in just a moment. Okay, I have got my little fella starting in the wrong spot there, so I'm going to have to move him across a bit. Try position. What if I can go to this tile map and have a look at what position this is? I want him to start on these stairs here. It doesn't tell me the position that I'm after. So I'm just going to do a bit of a guessing game here. So I'm going to move along the x-axis a little bit, maybe up to 35. See where that gets him. We'll just refresh here in a moment. Not quite. I might try 40 and see if that gets him. Yeah, 40 is where I wanted to start it. So 40 on the X and then 5 on the Y. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. We can bring that camera option back in now where we had it in scene. And it's got camera follow sprite boy. Let's just give that a test run and see how that's going. You will be able to walk through the walls still in this game. Let's just see if you can walk around still okay. And yeah, the camera's following nicely now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just turn those purple bricks into walls so that he can't walk his way through them. So I'll just stop the game from going there, and I'm going to go back to my tile map here. And remember, this option over here is the wall option. You can turn that on, and I'm just going to use my line tool here to click and drag over all these walls. Don't go over the exit there. and don't go over the start position. We want our player to still be able to walk into those. You will need to go across, I might use the fill bucket here and click on, it doesn't let me do the fill bucket. Oh yeah, there it is, the fill tool, and just click on all of those purple walls now. Fill bucket's a fairly quick way to get them all coloured in. There we go. So all those things now highlighted in that pinky colour are considered walls, which means our player shouldn't be able to run through them. So we'll go over and give that a bit of a test run as well and make sure that that's the case. Yeah, there we go. So he can still walk up the stairs, but he can't run through those walls. Cool, that's perfect. So we're looking good there. Okay, and when we get to that finish line, nothing is happening just yet, which is fine. Okay, so I'm going to stop that from running. What we could do before we end this video, I'm going to do this tutorial in multiple parts, remember, just so I don't overwhelm you at once. But something else we can put in the info section here is on countdown end. So when our countdown timer of 30 seconds comes to an end, we just want the game to be over. Just means the player didn't get to the finish line in time. So we'll say they do lose out there. Okay, that's probably about all I want to do in this first part of the video. So we've made our first level. Okay, we've created the walls to go in it, and the player can't run through them. We've also animated our little player so that he can move left, right, up and down, and it makes it look like he's actually moving in that direction, which is cool. That's probably about all we've done, but it was a busy lesson. Okay, I will see you in the next tutorial in part 2, where we're going to start adding in some more functionality. So I will catch you in that video soon.